What's up, good people? What's up, Africa? I hope you're doing well wherever you are today. There's just an issue that I feel like it's important to address to the black people in general or the black people across the continent. And so I believe that it's an important message that needs to reach everyone outside there. So let's watch this video and then come back and say something about it as usual.
Black and beautiful means nothing unless you're black and powerful. Let's just get that straight. You cannot be black and proud and niggas too. Okay, that white folks are planning for 3 generations and we're planning for Saturday night, right? Because the whole, brothers and sisters, is to win, not to look like we're winning. I would rather carry a plastic bag with $5,000 in it than to carry a $5,000 Louis Vuitton bag with $100 in it. You ain't winning. Louis Vuitton winning, Nike is winning, Gucci is winning, Armani is winning. You ain't winning. We are the consumption class, they are the merchant class. They make stuff, we buy stuff. It is interesting to me that the rich stay rich by pretending to be poor, and the poor stay poor by pretending to be rich. Right? We got this shit ass backwards. That by 2053, 10 years after the majority becomes the minority, if nothing changes among African Americans, household median wealth will be zero. Zero. In effect, we will have worked our way into a second slavery. Try to operate in a market-based economy and a democratic capitalistic society without money. Let's see how that works for you.
Oh man,
us. And ain't nobody fixing us but us. White people are not fixing black people. It's been 400 years and we ain't fixed. You know who white people are thinking about? They're thinking about white people. They're thinking about their wives, their children, their communities, their schools, their businesses, and your pockets. That's what they're thinking about.
People of African descent, we need to wake up. Hear me out. People of African descent, we need to wake up. By the time we wake up from our slumber, Africa will be owned by everybody else, by people that look like us. And we will no longer have any hope. There'll be no hope, because the only way that we are going to eradicate this disrespect is if the continent of Africa is okay. That is the only way we are going to eradicate this disrespect. The day that we wake up and we go, if it's corporations that are run by people that don't look like us, this disrespect is never going to end. So we need to wake up. People of African descent, we need to wake up. The Chinese, the Indians, the Europeans are in Africa creating generational wealth. Do you know that you can go to, for instance, you can go to South Africa and your landlord will be Indian? Yep, there's nothing wrong with that. They've seen the opportunity and they've gone. Except for people that this is rightfully ours. This land and this soil is rightfully ours. What are we doing speculating whether we are black or not, whether we are African or not, fighting over tribal wars and all kinds of divisions? We need to wake up and rise up from this slumber. There's beach fronts that need to be developed. Do you know that in Ghana we have the one of the largest man-made lakes in the world? It's beautiful, right? With a jungle, and it's just beautiful land, piece of land. And one time I went to my husband's hometown and there was this piece of land that it was like an island. And I was like, oh my God, this will do great with a golf course and a retreat. Yes, I'm talking to my brothers and sisters in the Americas. Americas, because we have the dollar and we spend the most money on goods that are made by people that don't look like us. And we've enriched everybody else but ourselves. This self-hate, we need to, I hate to be this passionate, but this self-hate, we need to wake up. We need to start thinking economically. We need to go claim what is ours. By the year 2050, this was written in the New York Times, 1 in every 4 people will be black. And the youth in Africa is vibrant and the world is scared of it because it's a continent with the youngest people. So we need to have a game plan. For this 25, 30 years, we need to have a game plan that what is this going to look like? I don't have the money, I don't have the power, but I have a voice. So I can put on my camera and talk about it. And hopefully this video will get into the right hands.
So, first of all, I'd like to say that this message goes all to black people across Africa. And I believe that this is not for the first time black Americans are hearing these things, but again, or generally black people are hearing this information But I believe that we need to always remind people. I mean, that's our work. People who do things on social media. So there are a lot of things which have been said on the video, and I believe that they're important. And let's just be honest with everyone. If we can take Black Americans purchasing power and compare it to other any black group, we'll find that they are one of the richest people across the world in terms of their purchasing power. It means that if this money they could have invested it in back in their black businesses, if this money they can help to support other black people, buy from a black business shop, support a black person, I mean, we as black people will have gone much better than this. Black people have resources, black people have potential. What black people don't have, we don't have each other. We don't have each other's back, and that's what's taking. That's what's making us lag behind. We prefer buying from other brands rather than just promoting a black friend or a black person who is just around you. Also, one thing that I would like to say is that we tend to forget about our brothers and sisters. I understand people have preferences in what they want to buy, preferences in what they want to do, but I would like to tell you that sometimes take some time and promote your black business, promote your black person, because it goes a long way. It's not just about wearing those brands, buying those things, because if black Americans have high purchasing power, if this money they could transform it to their own businesses, I mean, promote a black business, promote a black person, black community could have been going so much great. So I know you're asking yourself, why am I talking about black community and not talking about my African country? Of course, this also goes to my African country. Now, black Americans are also important, or African Americans who agree to be called African Americans are so important to the Africa as a continent, because Africa needs you, and at some point we also need each other. So the thing is this, we in Africa, we're having a lot of investors who are coming in Africa. Talk about Chinese, talk about Asians, talk about Indians, talk about any other group which are coming to Africa to start business. Remember, this has always been a song. The future is in Africa, and today everyone is looking at the African youth. We have a bright mind. The African youth are not the African youth that people used to think before. The African youth are now vigilant. The African youth are now, they know what they want, they know what they're doing. So with this being put in fact in factor, we need to consider that the future of Africa is so great, but who are the ones coming to this, the future of African? The people who are investing so much in the future of Africans is not even black Americans, or it's not even African themselves. Saddens me when Africans are leaving their own country, going to the United States, going to those places to look for jobs, whereas people don't know that the little that African have, if they could just find a way of multiplying it, it could serve the old world, because even the countries where they go to look for jobs do those things. These people come to Africa to take the resources that also power the things that they do there. So everything we need is in Africa. The only thing we don't have ourselves. We don't have coordination. We don't have, proper communication amongst ourselves. We know the commodity, we know the asset that we have is the African youth. And according to the video, the sister said that in every 4 groups, the future, according to New York Times, I don't know the news that she watched or something, says that out of every 4 group, in a group of 4 people, 1 will be African, or 1 will have the black descent, which shows that we are becoming so vibrant. We are taking up spaces as black people, but that's just not enough. This also entails calling black Americans or African Americans who agree to be called African Americans to come back to invest in Africa, to be the future of Africa. We don't want only to see Asians, we don't want only to see Indians, we don't want only to see Chinese, we don't want only to see Europeans in our country. We want to see black Americans who are claiming these places, who are claiming these positions, because the future is in Africa. And let me tell you one sad reality. Come the year 2050 or 2060, there'll be no lands which will be sold in Africa. What does this mean? This means that people who have already come to Africa, they'll be occupied a lot of spaces in Africa where people will not have any space to sell. Land will become land will become something which is so precious. You need to know this. Chinese, Indians, Europeans will be full in Africa. They'll flood Africa because, as always, people know that the United States is declining. European countries are declining, and the future is in Africa. Look about the climate of the United States compared to the climate in Africa. It tells you much about of everything. Look about the earthquakes, the things that happens in European countries. Compare it, everything which is happening in Africa. You rarely find such kind of things happening in Africa. There are a lot of geopolitical factors that will make people flood Africa come the year 2050, 2060. I'm asking you, will you be part of this movement? I might be somewhere old or something, but if you watch this video, if you manage to reach where I'm talking to you today, you'll come to realize that that young Kenyan man told me that the year 2050, people will be flooding Africa. People will be finding places to come to Africa because Africa is becoming so vibrant. But at the moment, the challenge that we have is black people are not supporting their own. Black people are rather buy those expensive things. Black people don't invest in things which are important. Black people, okay, they invest, but not all of them does so. So black people, we are still at a point where we need to make the right decisions. I know I can't help you make the right decision as a person, but I believe if we still remain vigilant as black people, we will be able to attain these. We will be able to have these facilities with us. We'll be able to encourage each of us to come invest back in Africa, because in the United States, the things that you buy are not entirely for the blacks. The things that you buy are entirely for other people who are also building their continent. I know, with much respect, United States, it's your continent, but if you're a proud person who believe that they have the African descent, I would advise you to come back to Africa, to invest in Africa, to buy Africa products. And then when it comes that year that I told you, you'll come to say that, oh, it was worth it indeed. It was worth sparing time to come to Africa. It was worth time. Ask yourself, why do we have large number of people coming to Africa who are not even Africans? Because they know. And I don't think this is a secret. I don't believe this is a secret. This is something that you ought to know until now, because I don't know if this is a secret, because this is not a secret. This is something that you ought to know. You need to ask yourself, why we having a group of Chinese who are coming to Africa? Why do we having a large group of Indians coming to Africa? I mean, look at the South Africa. We have 2 million Europeans who are in there. Look at Kenya, my own country where I am. They keep on coming and coming, buy lands and settling, That's why, black person outside Africa, you need to come to Africa. Get somewhere to settle as early as you can. If you're planning, I'm happy for you that you're planning to do so. If you're still keeping out in your mind, I pray that may God enlighten you and show you that the future is in Africa. For those people who die hard for the United States, I still have respect for you. But this message was for the people who are interested in coming back to Africa. Until then, peace, love, and harmony. If you reach this point, kindly consider subscribing to my channel. This is Eugene, the African kid, Eugene from Kenya, Eugene Docu Stories. Until then, peace, love, and harmony. Salute.